we want to talk a little bit about healing and what it actually takes to heal. There's a lot of misconceptions. A lot of people don't even want to claim that you can heal because they're afraid of rules and regulations imposed upon the industry or that is dealing with these types of things, and the setup that the system has going on. And so a lot of that plays a part only if you allow it to, but there are a lot of beings that allows that. So when you go to a psychiatrist or with your things, it's automatically you're automatically sort of in a category already, and then they tell you what's needed, and there's a lot of things in the mind that they explain, and then okay, so you have to do that and that and that, okay. But the reality is quite different, actually. We've been to the beach. We have seaweed probably everywhere. Smells okay though. Doesn't smell like seaweed. It smells like the ocean. And so we want to share a little bit what we are going through now, and this has very much to do with our healing. And also a lot of misconceptions about what works and what doesn't work. We had a comment that we answered and that said something like, how do we know if this works if you are still healing, or if you're not healed yet, or something like that. And there's a lot of misconception about this, because there are a lot of just beliefs that, oh, unless you are healed, meaning you're all fine, you don't have any problems anymore, then you're enlightened. That's some kind of idealized perfectionism. And we get it, because that's how the industry works. People puff themselves up, usually, with like, oh, I did this and I did that, and I've done this and I did that, and I diploma here, diploma there, I've studied with this person and that person, and then you get credit, yes? Oh, if you have pictures with that person, oh yeah, you must be a... You know, it's things like that. And that is pumping up a reality. It's important to know how this works. If you want to heal yourself, you need to know how this works. If you want to rely on other people to heal you, please. That's another option, which many people are. Looking at the, oh, frequency this, frequency that. You can, oh, we have scalar, we can frequency. There's a lot of things you can do. However, your consciousness is way past any of that when you learn to work with your consciousness. But many beings are trained to operate the way that everyone else operates. And in order to truly heal your body, you have to change your consciousness about how you actually function. And we can tell you, it's a little bit, it's crazy, but then it's past crazy. We've been to crazy. We're out of that. Looking at all our shadows reflected back to us so that we can love it, see what we're doing and move on. And so we've done that. We have been to hell. You know? That's when you get online, because you're like, fuck, what kind of reality am I really in here? This is not... And that was the greatest lesson of our life. These lessons way superimposes any kind of other healing modality, because it works on your system. Your system need. And what is that? A lot of beings are trained. They go to study and they train what it's supposed to be, and then they act that out. Not questioning and feeling and using this faculty, because no one teaches that. The mind-body connection type of thing, which now is more like you just meditate and do yoga, and then you have mind-body connection, and then you smore some incense. There's no one really that's truly telling the actual thing. That's why we felt like we have to do it. It's like we feel like we're telling that the emperor doesn't have any clothes. It's obvious to us, but everyone seems to think that he has clothes on. Oh, great, sire. Oh, wonderful. Yes. We just follow along the crowd, even the spiritual crowd. There's a lot of ways, but we want you to pay attention to certain things. And these are just cues. If you attack, there is a distortion there, projection. There's something. What is it? Because you wouldn't attack something unless you truly saw what it was. You see? You can only attack something that you have fabricated something. Otherwise, your body would agree with you. Because when you speak from your body, that's when it's truth. You know, when you walk that path, this is what is so... People think that they're better than their bodies. People think that this is how they operate. They may not say that, but this is how usually they operate. Many beings, not everyone, many. And this is where we came from, and we are working our way up the scales. And we have mastered the mind, which is the biggest thing. So, have we healed? Are we enlightened? No. Our mind is enlightened. We can connect to higher intelligence. We can translate that to you. And we are walking that path with them. They are guiding us. Jesus, Archangel Michael, Archangel Metatron. These are just deities that we like, that we aspire to, right? And that is what we believe, is that when we spend so much time with something, it manifests. It's not just that we believe, we know. Because when you know how consciousness operates and energy operates, and everything turns into more, your focus alone turns into more. And so your habits are what dictates what frequency you got going on. What are you actually doing? Not what you're saying. What you're saying and what you're doing has to be in sync. It's sort of like turning yourself inside out, so that that inner voice, that when you came in here, it was quite strong and you did your own thing, and then eventually life happened and you have to get with reality and like you get a job and get an education and get a. Thinking. You have to think like this, think like that, act like that, do like this. And the more you recognize what has been going on, you can even recognize it and not fully know the depth of this. So the only way, I'm talking to the spiritual leaders here, the only way to truly heal and be not the unhealed healer, but the healer that's at least walking its path, not afraid to share where he's at, because the beings that can see, they can see. The beings that manipulate, they manipulate. The beings that attack, they attack. The beings that see things twisted, they see things twisted and they usually attack. Or they attack internally, or just with their mind. It's all the same. It's just more, it's better someone speaking it, because then it's clear. It's not hidden. We don't have to like figure out. Many beings are these two faces. And this is duality. Some beings are at the very least authentic with their twistedness. And that is a better place to be at. Because at the very least you are congruent with your own system. And that's healthy. But there is more to consciousness than blaming the outside. And that's where the healing is. And that's where what we are being asked to do more and more, and dare that more and more. We are in the process of healing with Gaia. We know what Gaia is. We can feel her, we communicate with her, we translate what she's saying through our body. It's very similar through your body. You see? It might not be exactly, but it is very similar. Because we are operating very similar when we are seeing what's actually happening. I'm not sure where we went there. So, we have to have the water, the drinks ready. This is us looking after the body. And the body likes to have that sometimes. And this is the journey that we are having. It's a different journey, it's a different way of operating with the body. And it came from a lot of suffering. And then we realized what we were doing. And then we have course corrected what we were doing from the inside out. So that we have changed the mirror. But it doesn't mean that we don't work with the mirror and just allow the mirror to do whatever. You know, you have to stand up and speak, like when Gaia, we say Gaia because we know that we're feeling the body. And that is our connection to Gaia. When Gaia, meaning our body, says, send this message to this person. We're feeling disappointed for something. It's not socially acceptable. So we totally we had one that reacted to our message. They got angry. And justifiably so. We hadn't established any repertoire for that to be really serious. It was a little bit playful. And we were also going through feelings about it. And we decided, why not just share? That's us wanting to open to someone. That was from our side. And then it was completely misinterpreted. And that's okay. But it was also just from that perspective. You see? So we get it. This is not about choosing sides. What we want to emphasize is that we are walking our path. This is how we know for a fact. This is not our first time following Gaia. We have looked for this sign. Looked for this way of operating for a while, many years. We have studied every spiritual modality almost that is worth poking your nose in, and people that sort of have gotten lots of good nuggets. But we never saw anyone having the complete picture. And so we kept searching until we found it ourselves. And this is what we're doing here. We are translating the knowledge that is inside of our body. That is what we're doing, because we have reversed. We don't look for the outside. The outside communicates to us what's up. And then we continue working on ourselves. We're using the outside. And when Gaia says, hey, what about this? This is fun. And we feel nervous and excited. That was another test from Gaia. This is a day 13. We've also had another test that was of the old, which was someone that we completely let go of, testing us. Hey, do you want to come down here again? It's so fascinating. When you start to see the truth of what's going on, it's predictable. We're seeing it over and over again. But the difference is, we're seeing our progress with what we are doing every single day. We are feeling what comes up for the body every single day. And what came up for the body today, which was actually a gift from this being that got angry and laid it what she thought. And we felt where she was at, and she was justified, just like we mentioned. However, after we felt through that, we felt Gaia. Because that wasn't the only thing that happened. It was that message. The electricity went off. We were just sitting there feeling sort of like God-smacked. Okay, we didn't know what to do, right? So we were just, okay, Gaia, guides, what now? What's this, you know? And then we heard a song. Oh, we're gonna share that with you, because this is where we're at. Because this is what healing looks like. And it's by Go-Go Dolls. Iris was what Gaia played for us. It was all of these things at once that just sort of stopped us. We couldn't move. We were just, there was nothing. And then we heard that song. We still felt nothing. And the lyrics, I don't want the world to see me, because I don't think they will understand. When everything is meant to be broken, I just want you to know who I am. And we have chills as we're reading this, though that particular thing is telling our story right now. What we have felt. And it's like, what we have been through, we have put up a lot of barriers towards truly getting to know people, because we've been so hurt. You know? We've been so like fucking stabbed in the back. And maybe, oh, past life and that's why it happened. Doesn't matter. It happened again. I allowed that in the past because I did not follow my body. So now I'm learning to follow my body, regardless of what anyone else says or thinks, because I know that I'm following my path. If someone gets a little angry, I totally get it, by the way. And Could we have said it better? Absolutely. We are a work in progress. We are not perfect. But we are walking the path to healing. And this is what is healing the body. This is what's healing the body. Telling the fucking truth. And speaking when Gaia says. Daring to share how you feel is an act of love and opening up for connection, actually. It can be seen like that. You know? And we're really grateful for the outcome because we could never have predicted this. When we started playing that song, our eyes just bawled. We couldn't stop crying. Deep in the second chakra. And that's what we healed because we were feeling that. We were feeling that and we were with the body. Feeling that pain and just crying, just allowing that. That's real because you're touching something that we had overlooked. And this is how we open up for Gaia to help us. And this is what we're doing every single day. We're channeling and we're working at correcting these things every single day. This is all what we do now. We don't know how to be a normal human being again because we've done this for too long. We don't know how to socialize. We're working on it. Oh my God. It's so true though. We don't know how to fucking be with people. But we're trying. We're trying. We're working on it. You see? It's honest. This is where we're at, you know? And there is a lot of freedom to just recognize where you're at and be okay with that. Yes, I struggle with people, but I'm working on it. At least I'm reaching out now. Before I was avoiding people, you see? We used over a year, over 1.5 years, and we're still avoiding people. Didn't want to contact anyone. It doesn't matter what people say if you don't feel there is any genuine care behind it through the body, is what we learned. And we learned to detect that. And that means that we can feel most people better than they can feel themselves. Unfortunately, we almost want to say. And this is how it is to land your light sometimes. It's like this. Just raw sharing. Sharing your heart is not sharing a heart emoji and being all happy all the time. That's completely backwards. It's daring to share the truth of what your body feels. If your body is hurt, daring to share that. Even if it pisses people off. At least you're a work in progress, you know? That's much better than being a closed book. At least you've opened your book and you're walking your path. And that is the road to healing. When you have the eyes to see that path and you have found it again, that's the road to healing. Not a freaking band-aid. Meditation and manifestation can get you a lot of places and you can get you a lot of things. But if you really want to do the things that you came here for, You have to soul and body. Otherwise, you're going to feel something is missing for your entire life. Maybe not. Maybe you're happy where you are. That's fine too. There is no judgment about where you're at. But it will help you in your development to know where you're at truly in frequency. And we know if someone comes into our life, just like this being, when we have something to learn, and we don't learn it from that being telling us what we have to learn. No, we get it from Gaia, through another being. Yes, she was the instigator, the punch in the stomach. Hey, look at this, mother effer. Kidding. But but that's why it's love. Because that's what it is. It's a little punch. Look at this. That's what it is from Gaia. The being is not aware of that. The being was triggered. And then seeing one level of reality, well, triggered. From her perspective, justly so. We have to say, completely just. And we're following Gaia. What can we say? It's like this. This is what healing is. And we can see that there's a lot of judgments about it. It can be a lot of misunderstandings about it. We can see that. And it's better if some people misunderstand, then we try to adjust to them, because then we're just back to where they're at. You see? This is how we all walk our path. It's not anyone else's. It's your path. It's my path. I know Gaia signal. And when you find someone that knows Gaia signal, you might learn a thing or two. You see? If you want to join us, you can shift with us. And we'll talk to you again in the next one. Ciao. Maybe this was a little bit too fast. Okay, hang on a second. Because let me just take a breather. Because we're sharing quite deep stuff here from our body. And this is level of depth that most beings misinterpret. And they have judgments about of what things are when people are perceived in certain ways or they say certain things. So this is how we can be a blessing in each other's lives. But it can also happen much nicer, like once more beings are actually more in tune with the body and actually have are a bit more broader in their comprehension of how things work, then it's much easier to move through these things much faster, because then we can actually be much better support for one another. And that's really what this is. This is how we were in support for one another now, with the level of openness that we have managed to conjure. You see? Because we don't want to be hermits. Like, we like people. We want to connect with people. Our body desires to expand more. And this is how we're being nudged to do that. And we're following our path. And whatever the body says, more of that, we follow that. And we don't know sometimes where it's leading. But now we're so grateful because we can feel how important it is that we are staying with our body through all of this. You see? Because then we are finally being the support to ourselves that no one was. We are finally then supporting ourselves the way that we desperately wanted to receive from someone outside. But we have to give it from within, from inside. And that is how it sticks anyway. So we're sending you so much love. This was shared with love. This is where we're at right now. And yeah, this is it. Take care. Ciao.